So I think they're just throwing stuff at the wall and hoping that it sticks because they know that their client is guilty and they're just trying to do the best that they can with a guilty client.
As you all know, I made a request today for what we were calling a gag order, and I'm not going to walk out of court and do anything other than live up to that.
Y'all, have you heard the latest? The celebrity scandal world just exploded, and this time it's none other than the legendary Shaw Diddy Combs at the center of it all. Can you believe it? The man who's been untouchable for decades, the hitmaker, the business mogul, the definition of music royalty, is now fighting for his reputation in a courtroom battle that has everyone's jaws on the floor. But wait, it gets juicier. It wasn't just the legal drama that had everyone talking. It was his shocking appearance that left the entire courtroom. I'm telling you, even hardened journalists couldn't hide their surprise. What in the world happened to the charismatic, larger-than-life personality who used to dazzle us all? The transformation is absolutely mind-blowing. Let's dive into this scandalous saga and spill all the tea.
This is the end of the Diddy story as we know it.
When Diddy made his latest court appearance, I almost didn't recognize him, and I'm not the only one. Gone was the slick, polished music mogul who dominated red carpets and magazine covers for as long as we can remember. Instead, this shell of a man shuffled into the courtroom, looking absolutely ancient. His once impeccable appearance, completely gone. His hair, overgrown and gray, his beard matching and adding what looked like decades to his face. The reporters couldn't stop whispering about how bloated and worn down he looked. It was heartbreaking to see the transformation from the sharp-dressed entrepreneur we all knew to this. The courtroom literally erupted in hushed conversations as journalists frantically wrote notes trying to make sense of the shocking transformation. "Oh my God, he looks terrible," one observer whispered loud enough for everyone to hear. Others wondered if this dramatic physical change was actually a calculated strategy. Was he trying to gain sympathy? Or is this genuinely what happens when your entire empire starts crumbling around you? Whatever the reason, seeing him like this was like watching a titan fall. The aura of invincibility that surrounded him for decades completely shattered. The visual was undeniable and absolutely haunting.
In her civil lawsuit, Cassie said that she was the victim of abuse, assault, and rape at the hands of Diddy.
But hold on to your seats because the day's drama was just getting started. The new allegations revealed during this court session were absolutely explosive. The prosecutors, clearly feeling confident with what they called critical evidence, unleashed a barrage of damning accusations that painted an even darker picture of the mogul's past.
We are not done. This investigation is ongoing, and I encourage anyone with information about this case to come forward and to do it quickly.
You said we are not done and that Combs did not do this alone. Do you foresee that there could be other charges related to this case? I'm not taking anything off the table. That exchange sent shivers through the courtroom. Everyone immediately connected it to the swirling rumors about Diddy potentially surrendering. Can you imagine? The man who once stood defiantly against all accusations now possibly cooperating with federal authorities?
A U.S. judge has ruled that the rapper and producer Sean Diddy Combs will stand trial on federal sex trafficking and racketeering charges in May. He'll be held in prison until then. Sean Combs has pleaded not guilty to charges that he used his business empire to transport women and male sex workers across state lines to take part in recorded sexual performances. If convicted, he could face a life sentence. David Willis reports.
The courtroom drama hit another emotional peak with the presence of Diddy's family members who've stood by him despite the avalanche of allegations. His son Christian, daughter Chance, and his mother Denise were all there, giving us a rare glimpse into the personal toll this nightmare is taking on his inner circle. There was this heart-wrenching moment when he turned to blow a two-handed kiss toward his family. Such a small gesture, but so powerful in that sterile courtroom environment. For just a second, you could see past the sensational headlines to the human being caught in this scandal. But even that touching family moment couldn't overshadow the absolute magnitude of the accusations against him. The contrast was almost poetic in its tragedy. A man showing love to his family while fighting allegations that could destroy his entire legacy.
Hey, real quickly, all that commissary stuff, he's not getting any of that because people in the shoe have an abbreviated list. So he's out of luck. No stake for him. Yeah, he is on watch. This guy thought he would have went home. All of a sudden, he didn't get bond. Remember, the first night that he was there, He was like an overnight.
Just when you thought things couldn't get more dramatic, rumors of Diddy's alleged cooperation with authorities started gaining serious momentum. The courtroom was buzzing with speculation. Could this be the beginning of a whole new chapter in this saga? Legal experts couldn't stop debating what this might mean. Is Diddy cutting a deal to save himself? Or is this part of some elaborate strategy to shift focus away from the most damaging aspects of his case? No one knows for sure, but one thing is crystal clear. For the first time in decades, this is a man on the defensive in a way that even his vast resources and legendary influence can't easily fix. The power dynamic has completely shifted, and watching this unfold is like witnessing history being rewritten before our eyes.
And I understand that he has a shrink coming by his cell to see him several times a day. And now there's talk about putting him in, it's like a bubble. It's like a cell that has like a plexiglass wall in it where they have inmates watching you. That's actually their job, to keep an eye on the inmates that are on watch.
As the courtroom session wrapped up, the questions about Diddy's future loomed larger than ever before. His once flawless reputation as a music mogul and cultural icon shattered, replaced by a narrative of alleged misconduct and legal battles that threatened to completely erase his storied career. The sight of a visibly aged and subdued Diddy leaving the courtroom seemed to perfectly capture the epic fall from grace that has captivated the public for months now. But wait, the day's revelations didn't stop there.
Now, to the latest on the arrest of Sean Diddy Combs. This one has so many people talking. The disgraced music mogul facing federal racketeering, conspiracy, and sex trafficking charges. Both the prosecution and defense teams are set to discuss the next phase of action following the indictment, as investigators work to determine potential co-conspirators. But how exactly did we get here?
Just as the courtroom emptied and the buzz began to quiet, a new wave of speculation started building. Could this truly be the beginning of the end for one of the most recognizable figures in entertainment history? And if so, what does that mean for the legacy he spent decades building? These unanswered questions leave the story wide open, guaranteeing that this is far from the last we'll hear about Sean Diddy Combs and the legal battle that has the entire world absolutely captivated. And just when you thought the drama couldn't possibly get any more intense, the spotlight suddenly turned to Diddy's legal team, the very people who are supposed to be his last hope but now seem surrounded by whispers of betrayal, internal conflict, and questionable motives. Imagine this: the people who should be fighting tooth and nail for his freedom are now at the center of speculation themselves. Are they really in his corner, or are they playing a completely different game? The courtroom wasn't just a battleground for prosecutors and defense, it was a stage where Diddy's own team seemed to be struggling to keep their strategy intact.
Public realm, this is very significant, just from who we associate Diddy being and everything we've seen him do over the decades. Like you said, this is quite the downfall to go from, I mean, we saw the mansions back in March that were raided by the feds. So to go from living in those mansions to being in a jail cell right now, I think it really underscores the magnitude of what he's facing and the weight of the federal government.
Rumors have been swirling for weeks that Diddy's legal team, led by high-profile attorney Mark Agnifilo, is not nearly as unified as they want people to believe. Insiders have suggested that certain members of his defense might not be fully committed to his cause. Instead, their true allegiance may lie elsewhere, with powerful figures lurking in the background, pulling strings and making sure their own interests are protected. It's been whispered that some of these shadowy influencers are more concerned about what Diddy might reveal than whether or not he walks free. And let's be honest, Diddy's empire wasn't built on squeaky clean deals. If he's pressed to cooperate, who knows what names might come tumbling out of his mouth? The potential collateral damage is staggering to consider.
I think it's to be expected, just the shock of this and the questions about what is ahead of us. I mean, how long is he going to be in custody? Is this an R. Kelly situation? Is he going to not get out for a number of years? Is he going to end up serving a long-term prison sentence from this? Or does he have a chance of beating these charges at a trial that could come?
Speculations over divided loyalties absolutely exploded after Anthony Rico, one of the attorneys on Diddy's defense team, abruptly announced his intent to withdraw from the case. The timing couldn't possibly be worse, just months before the trial is set to begin and with the stakes higher than ever. Rico's departure raised eyebrows across the board, with some insiders calling it a sign of complete chaos within the defense, while others suggested that Rico might have been pressured to step aside. His cryptic statement about being unable to serve consistent with the the standards of justice left everyone guessing, was it a matter of principle, or was there something much more sinister happening behind the scenes?
Now, this particular defense attorney's reason for quitting wasn't really a reason at all, making his departure a lot more puzzling.
Meanwhile, the defense team's strategy, or complete lack thereof, has become a topic of heated debate. On one hand, they've been filing motions left and right, from questioning the integrity of evidence to demanding the identities of witnesses. But on the other hand, these maneuvers have been criticized as desperate attempts to delay the inevitable. Rumors suggest these files include everything from private communications to detailed logs of events that align with some of the allegations against him. While the defense has dismissed these claims as exaggerated, the sheer volume of data has left many wondering what secrets might be buried within and how damaging they could be if brought to light in court.
Potentially, it could be a conflict with the client, right? A disagreement. They just don't get along. The communication is poor. They don't agree on defense strategy. It could be a conflict with one of the other lawyers. Obviously, it seems like Agnifilo is the lead on this case, although Rico was certainly his 1B.
At the same time, whispers about internal disagreements on how to handle this influx of evidence have intensified. Insiders have suggested that some members of Diddy's legal team want to focus on discrediting the chain of custody, arguing that the evidence could have been tampered with or taken out of context. Others, however, reportedly prefer a more aggressive approach, aiming to preemptively dispute the relevance of these materials before they're even presented. This internal tug-of-war has only fueled speculation that the defense team is struggling to maintain a cohesive strategy, further weakening their position in the face of an already uphill battle.
And I know obviously there's other lawyers on the case. Obviously a lot of the victims are female. They're going to want female lawyers on the defense team, especially during some of the aggressive cross-examination. That tends to be the conventional wisdom when you're dealing with victims who are alleged victims of sexual assault or abuse. And then it could be a conflict with one of the victims themselves. Maybe maybe Rico consulted with them or even represented them.
But here's where it gets even messier. There's been talk that Diddy's legal team might actually be working against his best interest, whether intentionally or not. Some speculate that their primary goal isn't to get him out of jail, but to keep him there long enough to ensure he doesn't spill any secrets that could implicate others. Let's not forget the rumors about Diddy's alleged cooperation with federal authorities. If he's trading information for leniency, who's really benefiting from that arrangement? Could it be that his defense team is more focused on controlling the narrative than securing his release? It's a chilling thought, but in a case with stakes this high, anything feels possible. And then came the absolute bombshell about Cassie's certificate. A piece of evidence that seemed to come out of nowhere but could potentially shift the entire trajectory of the case. Cassie, who has been at the center of many of the allegations against Diddy, reportedly provided a certificate that corroborates her claims. While the exact details of the document remain under wraps, insiders have hinted that it's related to events detailed in her lawsuit against Diddy, a lawsuit that was settled almost as quickly as it was filed but has left a lasting impact on public perception. The certificate has been described as a game changer, offering concrete proof to back up accusations that had previously been dismissed as hearsay. Legal experts have weighed in, calling the certificate a potential nail in the coffin for Diddy's defense. If this document is what people are saying it is, it could be devastating, one analyst commented. It's one thing to have allegations. It's another to have a paper trail that supports them. Prosecutors have already signaled their intention to introduce the certificate as evidence, despite fierce objections from Diddy's team. Mark Agnifilo has reportedly argued that the certificate is irrelevant and prejudicial, but his attempts to block it from being admitted have so far been unsuccessful.
Combs is seen shoving, kicking, and dragging his then-girlfriend down the hallway. And now he's posted an apology.
The revelation of the certificate has also reignited discussions about Cassie's role in Diddy's downfall. Once seen as a loyal partner who stood by his side through thick and thin, she has emerged as one of the most vocal accusers in his ongoing legal saga. Her decision to file that explosive lawsuit in 2023 was a turning point. And while the case was settled within 24 hours, it opened the floodgates for others to come forward. Now, with the certificate adding weight to her claims, Cassie's credibility has reached new heights. Some are even calling her the key to unraveling the entire web of allegations surrounding Diddy.
Yeah, Jessica, it is very difficult to watch. We are actually going to go through it and show our viewers what he is apologizing for. But
Cassie's involvement hasn't been without controversy. Critics have accused her of seeking revenge, while supporters argue that she's finally finding her voice after years of silence. The public remains completely divided, with some questioning her motives and others applauding her bravery. What's clear, however, is that her actions have had a ripple effect, inspiring others to speak out and forcing Diddy to confront accusations that had long been swept under the rug. As the drama continues to unfold, the question on everyone's mind is, what happens next? Will Diddy's legal team manage to pull off a miracle, or are they merely delaying the inevitable? And what about the broader implications of his alleged cooperation with federal authorities? If he's truly sharing information, who might be caught in the crossfire? These are the questions that everyone is asking, and as the trial date approaches, the anticipation is reaching a fever pitch.
And at one point, he appears to throw what looks like vases at her. Now, this apology video that he posted today is the first time that he has acknowledged this event. In fact,
by the end of the day, one thing was crystal clear. This story is far from over. The courtroom battles, the behind-the-scenes power plays, the shocking twists, it all feels like the setup for a dramatic finale that no one can predict. And as more details emerge, the world will be watching, waiting to see how it all unfolds. Will Diddy rise from the ashes, or will this be the moment that brings his empire crashing down? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's keep the discussion going. Until next time, stay tuned for more updates on this absolutely riveting story.